Okay, this D-18 is the shop's 1972 D-18, and when I took my sabbatical and closed down the shop for a year, this was the only guitar that I kept out of all the shop guitars, and I just really like the neck on this guitar. It's a good sounding D-18. It's what I think a modified 70s D-18 ought to sound like, and you know, it's just got a great neck. Every time I pick this guitar up, I think, gosh, that's a nice neck. And so that's the reason I kept this one. And also, on this guitar, I did a 2 1/4 inch bridge spacing. And on the D35 I had, and the other guitars, even the D21, which was stock, they had 2 1/8 of an inch. And to me, that little extra just really pushes it over the edge for me. I really like that 2 1/4 spacing. And so since I did this one that way, and the neck was so good and the guitar sounds good, this is one I kept. This is a Brazilian rosewood bridge, which I just happened to have, you know, a piece of Brazilian. It had a different bridge on it before. And then I kind of got the spacing messed up a little bit and it bugged me. So I redid the bridge and did Brazilian rosewood. So anyway, just so you know what you're comparing with the other guitars. You know, this guitar's got Waverly tuners, a bone nut. It's got good frets. I don't remember how I refretted it. Yeah, I did because no, maybe I did. I don't know. But it's got good frets on it. Popsicle brace is gone. It's fully scalloped. It's got a small black locust or maple bridge plate, Brazilian rosewood bridge, long saddle, antique acoustic pins. This pickguard is from an actual 1930s D-18. A customer sent it to me one time. Said, you know, maybe you'll have a use for this. So I needed a pickguard for this guitar, and I laid it down there, and it fit absolutely perfectly. So I thought, well, that's it, you know. So that's an actual 1930s D-18 pickguard, which is great because, you know, I can keep it around, have it as a model. So when you're comparing pickguard materials and stuff, you can look at that and say, okay, that's a 1930s pickguard. So anyway, this is a nice guitar. I mean, I like it. So 72 shop D-18. The other guitars got a little bit of, you know, there's little variances in between them, but this is just kind of the standard, what I think a modified 70s D-18 ought to sound like. And keep in mind, of course, that I scalloped this guitar 2 or 3 years ago. So, you know, it's broken in. The other ones that you're going to look at, you know, they were scalloped last week. So they're going to keep maturing, you know. So, you know, don't judge them totally against this one. Just say, yeah, it's moving that direction, because it will continue to move. So, okay, next guitar. This guitar is a mid-70s D-18. It has, the most notable thing about this one is it has a different neck on it. It's an aftermarket neck. You can see the truss rod adjustment right there. To me, I could tell the peg head is thicker because these are Waverly's. These are Grovers, 18-to-1 tuners, and I can tell how little of the shaft is sticking out here because the strings barely make the winding. So I can tell the peg head is a little bit thicker right here than stock, just a little. And it also has a volute on the back of the neck, which I just now noticed. So that's interesting. What was funny about this neck is when I was making the nut, I measured it, and it's a 1 3/4 inch neck. And I thought, that's weird, because it doesn't feel like a 1 3/4 inch neck. It just feels like a comfortable 11/16. So I guess that goes to show you that that when you have a comfortable neck, the width of it isn't really all that important. But I can't tell the difference between this and the 72 that's behind me. In fact, I was very surprised when it's in my nut making video, how to make a long nut. And I measured it, and you can hear me, the surprise, right? It's a 1 3/4, and I measured it again and again. So, anyway, so on this guitar, I'll try to remember everything I did. I did a bone nut. Pretty sure I did frets. Yeah, this one has Evo frets, yeah. So I did a full Evo fret job on it. I did a neck reset. I took a popsicle brace out because there actually was quite a bit of wood missing under here from the previous neck reset. So I fixed up the wood that's under here best as I could. Provide more strength right there. There was a crack happening right over here. So I really felt like I needed to go ahead and pull the popsicle brace anyways and put that trapezoidal brace in here, which is how you fix those cracks. So I did that, scalloped the braces, and I'm pretty sure this just has scalloped X braces. And I can't remember offhand, but it is a mild scallop, not real aggressive. Just wanted to make it sound a little fuller. My bone saddle, this is a stock bridge, and antique acoustic bridge pins. This one has a James May pickup in it, which I've never installed before, and it was, a little bit, took about an hour to install it, because partly I had to make a new jig for it. What the James May pickup is the strip. It goes underneath the saddle, and then it has a big transducer deal that goes up here, and that's the feedback monitor. Then it's got, on the end pin jack, it's got a chipboard on it, and you can mess with all the little toggle switches to control your feedback level and volume control. So it's a fairly complicated pickup system, and unfortunately I don't have an acoustic amp here anymore, so I couldn't really test it. I plugged it into one of these Fenders, and that's not a good way to do it, but I did verify it made noise, so I put that in there. Yeah, this guitar is kind of funny because it's got the, I'm not a big fan of these John Pierce deals because, I'm a short guy, and making a dreadnought even wider at the most widest point is not my favorite thing in the world to do. And what you notice when I'm actually playing the guitar, I actually have my arm back behind here, so this isn't even doing anything for me. It's providing a hook for me to put my arm, because my arm comes across the back. It doesn't come down like this. In fact, to get up in here, gosh, I'm playing over the sound hole, which I'd never do, So I don't know how that would work for me. But I'm not a big fan of those. I don't like the little extra added weight. To me, a D-18 needs to be like a feather. You got to hold it down to keep it from floating off into the atmosphere. But it's not my guitar, so, whatever. I think this top has been oversprayed. I'm looking at it here in the light, and it's really shiny. And I can see finish cracks down here, but they don't come to the surface. They're down underneath a little layer of finish. And I could be wrong, but if you were to ask me, I would say this guitar has been oversprayed. The pickguard doesn't look like it's stock. It looks really good, but it doesn't have the characteristic little warp, and it just isn't quite the same color. There's a texture. It's not even a color. It's a texture that the originals have. The other guitar is going to have the stock pickguard. So, but it's a good guitar, golly, you know. Neck's really nice. Sounds good. It's fun to play. So, in fact, I love the neck. Neck's really good. It's got a V to it, and I don't notice the neck, and that's the main thing about a comfortable neck. I don't even notice it. It's just there, and it feels great. So, nice guitar. I've had this one forever. I'm working so slow these days, and this is I took a batch of 3 guitars in, and I think I got one of them. Yeah, I got one of them done. This is the second one. The third one is I'm getting on it ASAP. So anyway, that's a mid-70s. Just guys like guitar comparisons, you know. And the owner wanted to hear it versus my other guitars. So, and I just happen to have 3 D-18's in the shop right now, which is pretty rare since I have so few guitars anymore these days. I thought, well, I'll do a 3 D-18 comparison. So there you go. Guitar number 3 is an early 70s D-18. And it's kind of funny because when the owner brought it to me here, you know, I was evaluating it, looking it over, and I saw the large rosewood bridge plate and the go-overs, and I was just horrified at the bridge plate because I thought, I swear, I thought he told me he was bringing a 49 or, you know, a 40s D-18. And I thought, well, somebody put, you know, automatics on it, which they did. And then I saw the bridge plate, and I thought, did this go back to the Martin factory, you know? Because, you know, during the 70s, they would bring guitars up to spec, and then I said, and I asked, what year is this? And it's 72, 73, whatever. So I honestly thought it was a 40. I wasn't paying attention, you know. I was tired. But, you know, the top is so beat up, and total opposite of the guitar previously. This is, you know, this is obviously an original finish because you can see how the little dings and cracks that come to the surface, and it's got that matte look to it. So that's obviously the original crack, not oversprayed finish. When this guitar came in, it had it wasn't massive, but it was ugly ebony bridge on here. No scallops to the wings, just a wound surface. A big fat saddle on it, which I really don't like. Big fat saddles are good for bass, but they just kill the treble. And you know, on a D-18, I want that sound. You know, I want that punchy sound. So I was going to reshape the bridge, and then I realized, you know, it's an ebony bridge, and you know, I've got lots of rosewood bridge planks. So I said, you know, would you mind if I just put a Madagascar rosewood bridge on it? And so that's what I did. So this is a Madagascar rosewood bridge. It's scooted back. And when I took the ebony bridge off, the wood under here was so clean that I said, it's a shame to not move that bridge back because you're not even going to see the scar. And let me show you this here. That is unretouched scar right there. I haven't put finish over it, super glue, nothing. All I did was scoot that bridge and leave it alone. And you can't even tell. I mean, it looks like any number of bridges where they've been re-glued and you see a little bit of wood at the front. I mean, it looks terrific to me. And I got the right size bridge on there, in the right place, the saddle's in the right place, and we're back to the kind of bridge I think it ought to have. The bridge is important to me because, you know, where the saddle slot is on the bridge is a fulcrum point. And so when you have that saddle in the middle of the bridge, like a lot of people do with oversized bridges, then you have to scoot the saddle back. And I used to do it back in the day till I started thinking about it more. And I realized, you know, that fulcrum point is important, where the pivot point is on that bridge. And when the saddle is in the middle of the bridge, it's not gonna torque that bridge the same way. Now, whether it makes any difference or not, I don't know. You know, but I know that it's going to torque it differently. So if you want to have it like the old guitars, you need to put the saddle in the right spot on the bridge, and then put the bridge where it needs to go. And the heck with the scars. I mean, this guitar obviously has got scars, you know. So what's one more to get it right? All right, anyway. So I did Waverly tuners on this, and the funny thing about tuners these days, I can't get Grover 18-to-1s anymore. So it's kind of, and you can get away with these because they're made in the USA by Stu McDonald. So I'm back to using Waverly's, and they're great tuners, but I kind of miss not having that mid-cost Grover 18-to-1 deal. But anyway, this got Waverly tuners, the best, boned up. I refretted 7 frets and reshaped the fingerboard a little bit to get some of the excess relief out of it. Still has the popsicle brace right now. And this guitar is kind of mid-progress really right now. I'm not sure if I'm quite finished with it, but the owner needs it in order to go to Camp Bluegrass in July. And so I said, yeah, you know, I'll get on it. So this is a mid-progress report. I may leave it alone. I may continue with some things. I think I will probably pull the popsicle brace while it's here. I did the bridge plate for sure, did the bridge. You know, I was concerned about this system first. And then I lightly scalloped the X braces because when I got done with it, it was just a little bit nasally sounding. Because remember, I had taken a big rosewood bridge plate out and a big fat saddle and and an ebony bridge. And all of those things, those 3 things, tend to accentuate the bass a little bit more. So if the owner liked the sound of that, and it did sound pretty decent, just a little muddy maybe, but if the owner liked that bassy sound, I want to recapture some of that. So after I did a bright rosewood bridge and a bright black locust bridge plate, I thought we need to get a little bit more bass back in here. So then I scalloped the X braces only. It sounds great to me, you know. Got good bass, it's punchy. I don't know if I'll do the tone bars or not. I don't think I'll do any more scalloping. I'm just going to leave it alone. But I think I would do the popsicle brace just to, because it's here and because there's a little bit more sound. And when we did the tuners, we stiffened the neck up by doing that. So the stiffer neck is going to transmit, theoretically, more vibration into the upper bout. So there's sound to be had by removing the popsicle brace and putting the trapezoidal brace in there. So it seems to me like we ought to go for that while it's here. So anyway, tuners, you know, I mean, you know how they stiffen the neck is they take the mass off of it, and therefore that makes the neck stiffer. So the analogy I always use is an arrow. You know, I shoot archery, competitive archery, and if you take a 400 spine arrow and put an 85 grain tip on it, it makes that shaft stiffer. And if you put a 150 grain tip on it, now the shaft is more flexible because it's pushing more mass at the end of that stick. Think about the neck as being a stick, you see. Not a fishing pole, that's a bad example, but a dowel or a yardstick. If you put 3 pounds at the end of that thing, boom, it sags, so it's weaker. You weakened it. You take that 3 pounds off and put a 1 pound weight on there, and it's stiffer. So that's how taking the tuners off stiffens the neck. And again, I've said this many times before, but what I notice right away when you lighten up everything here is you feel the vibrations in your hand and the neck. You know, I'm really sensitive. My hands are super sensitive, and we have all kinds of discussions about that. You know, I can feel the gauge of the strings almost instantly, so I can feel that vibration in my hand. The neck's vibrating, and it's just fun. You know, the guitar is alive. It's not just a dead piece of concrete that sounds good. I like guitars that vibrate and shake and, you know, respond, so that when you do this, it hits you in the ribs, and that's what makes guitar playing fun. So I noticed right away when I changed tuners out to ladder tuners, the neck vibrates more. Okay. And the other thing is the guitar balance is better. You know, it doesn't go falling headstock down, and whew, man, it's light. You know. You know, my comment, I had the 72 and I had them compare the weight, and the reaction is instant. Oh wow, the 72 is just so much lighter than this was with the ebony bridge and the Rotomatic tuners and all that. Probably took a pound off the guitar right there. So, oh, and this guitar is made progress now. We might be done with it, might not be. Again, I did the popsicle brace, but we're close. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So, alrighty, there you go.